Take a trip with us to Nilbog. Just promise not to drink the goo.
Oh my God!
If you get sucked into the Matrix, we will sing the phone for you.
Do you believe in fate?
But every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow. Whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club of two. We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
All right. Welcome in to an episode of the Plotaholics podcast, this one specifically, where we will be discussing the Home Alone starring Macaulay Culkin.
The Culkinisms?
Have you do know that I'm just reading about this, in 2018 Culkin legally changed his name to Macaulay Culkin after holding a vote through his website to choose a new middle name, with Macaulay Culkin winning the vote over 4 other candidates.
So is that kind of the way some guy whose name that I'm not going to utter asked if he should sell his company based on a poll of social media?
It seems that way, but that's not what he actually asked.
He actually asked and followed through.
He asked, no.
Oh.
The man that you're talking about asked if he should step down as the
CEO.
Right. He never said he would sell.
Good point. Indeed. Got me.
But regardless, this week we are visiting the classic.
And it is a classic. There is no question mark around this 1990 gem.
Mm-hmm.
I've recently switched over to Mastodon just to see what it was about. And I've actually gotten a lot of engagement over there for, promoting my books.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually put up a poll over there.
Oh.
And it's bracket 1 of the greatest Christmas films. And this is going to be done by Christmas Day.
Okay.
So the first 4 have been, let me read it off to you. I believe I did Home Alone because my mind was on Home Alone.
Yes. And
then it was, where's that? Home Alone, Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
38 votes. Die Hard is in the lead with 36% of the vote. Number 2, Home Alone with 34% of the vote. 14 hours left.
Well, that one could go either way.
Yes, it could. Christmas Vacation is 26% of the vote, and Lethal Weapon, 2%.
I feel like Lethal Weapon is like on that spectrum that Die Hard falls on, where it's like an action film that is also a Christmas movie. I feel like Lethal Weapon strays further from the Christmas.
I'm willing to agree on, because Lethal Weapon could happen at any point in time.
Right.
Christmas is just happens to be the setting.
Yeah.
Where Die Hard can't happen
exactly
without it being Christmas.
Yeah. We've gone into this.
It was a fun conversation.
We've also discussed how Batman Returns is a great Christmas movie.
Yeah, because there's many, many ways that Batman Returns would not happen.
Right. It would be a very different movie if it wasn't.
It would be a very different movie if it wasn't for Christmas. I actually had someone on Mastodon say Batman Returns had better be on this list. So
it was me.
Okay. So the next bracket potentially is going to be Batman Returns, Gremlins, The Santa Claus, and Bad Santa.
What about Santa Claus, CLAWS, starring Bill Goldberg?
Oh, that's how could I have forgotten that Christmas romp?
that that the Christmas horror film, and horror not simply because of Bill Goldberg's acting,
No, not at
though
all.
in large part due to.
Although Bill Goldberg was funny in the Goldbergs.
He was very funny in the Goldbergs.
I wish we could get more of that Bill Goldberg.
Yeah.
Or even the Bill Goldberg from The Longest Yard. That's funny Bill Goldberg. That's the Bill Goldberg
It's
that
like it's self-aware Bill Goldberg, right? Like,
exactly.
and that is funny. I think self-awareness is one of the funniest things.
Absolutely.
If somebody like that, like John Cena is like a master at that.
He's extremely I mean, matter of fact, he was doing a lot of the self-awareness comedy before we even had a name for it. In wrestling, he was doing it.
Right. Yeah.
Because he was one of those guys where
he's a very meta sort of wrestler, right? Like,
yeah,
he's like with a wink and a nod. Like The Rock never did that. The Rock was very earnest, even though he was very like showy. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. And because I think with John Cena, that is what brought out that charisma. You know what I mean? Especially in the years when he started to become, the hustle, loyalty, respect character.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, he only has 5 moves. And he really embraced that. He was like, well, there's 6. Well, Kurt Angle did it too. Kurt Angle and John Cena did it too. Because Kurt Angle started doing when his music would hit and people would start to chant, "You suck," in the music. And he actually started to embrace that. And that got him way more over as well. But we're not talking wrestling. Thanks Bill Goldberg for getting us off the rails in 6 minutes and 50 seconds.
Off the turnbuckle.
Oh, he really took us off the turnbuckle. We went off script. We went into business for ourselves.
Rarely off of the top though. Mostly off the middle.
Yeah, I'm staying off the middle turnbuckle. I'm afraid of heights, dude.
So I have not. Here's a confession. I had not watched Home Alone since I was a child.
Really? So this is like a revisit to like old family friend.
Yeah, for sure. Michelle and I actually talked a little bit about this. I feel like I remember the third act of this movie very well.
Everyone does.
Everyone does, right? And in fact, I felt like the whole movie was mostly the third act. Like that was my memory of it, right?
That third act, when you really look at it, that is a long sequence. It is very long.
It's not as long as from the time they start trying to get into the house to the closing credits is less than a half hour.
True. But it feels long, and I think because as adults, right? When you're a kid, you're looking at it from Kevin's perspective. But when you become an adult, it's like, dude, I'd have been done after the first thing. After I fell down the steps, I'd have been done.
My beef with this movie, as I was watching it this time around, is like, why are these dudes so hung up on this house? Because they're doing well. Like they're like.
Because
Harry successfully, they're getting away with it,
right? Well, Harry even says
the only reason.
Right, yeah, that's exactly what it is. This is Great White Buffalo. He even said that's why he was like, I've been dreaming about that house. That's the whole reason why we're working this block.
Yeah,
because I've dreamed of that house. But here's the thing: what he don't seem to get, and he should have learned this from the jump. With a house with that many kids, bruh, man ain't got no cash on hand.
Right,
because them little monsters are like the IRS.
We watch them like rob one of these houses, and they're just like haphazardly breaking a bunch of random shit into bags.
Right, they're basically they're stealing the goods. They're not going for cash. They're going for.
They're not even really going for big ticket items. They're like
no. I think they're just stealing for the thrill.
Like the electronics of 1990 were not big ticket items, and they were like bulky and heavy and.
Well, depending on what they were, like if you took like one of those old laser discs, because not everyone had them, you could take those to a pawn shop and demand a pretty penny.
Yeah, but that was about the only kind of thing. Like stereo systems were bigger and bulkier. The TVs for sure you weren't.
Oh my god, yes. Oh my god, I still have nightmares of the TV that I grew up with. I still have nightmares of that monstrosity.
So they're just taking probably jewelry and
they're stealing jewels and stuff.
It's like just sitting around the house, you know?
Yeah, they're basically taking jewels, whatever loose cash, and smaller electronics. It looks like.
Yeah, which is fine. But if that's the case, you have to assume that the reason that they want the McAllister house is because of
It's going to have a lot of stuff.
going to have a lot of little stuff in it.
You would think.
Also, do we know what Mr. McAllister does for a living?
I have been wondering that and wondering that and wondering that. What the hell does that dude do to not only have a house that size,
but with that many kids in it?
Yeah, well, because now the one thing that I'll say about Mrs. McAllister, played masterfully by Catherine O'Hara, is she ain't a house mom. She works too.
Mm-hmm.
And I give her credit because, but I mean, damn, like, all right, I'm putting this into my Google.
I mean, they have to be knocking down hella money to afford that house with that many kids.
Mm-hmm. I'm just looking it up, and I started to put, what does Mr. McAllister do for a living? And it came up before I was even done.
Yeah. Do we know? It's covered in the second one?
Not really. And I did watch the second one, and it never comes up. It's just he works at the business store.
Yeah.
Remember, I love that bit.
I remember the second one more. I was a little older, obviously. Like, so when this movie came out, I was like 5 years old.
Okay.
The second one, I remember going to theaters to watch it, right?
Yeah.
But again, that's another movie that I don't know that I've really revisited since I watched it the first time. You know,
second one, I watched the second one right after watching the first one. And I'll tell you the truth. The one thing about the second one is that it's easily, because it's the plague of the sequel of that era. It's most sequels. It's the same jokes. It's literally almost the same everything, just a different setting and an older character.
Yeah.
But they are very meta and self-aware about it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Kevin is ahead of the game. Everyone's rushing to get into the shuttle. Kevin's already there. He's woken up early and has already packed for himself, because part of it was he couldn't pack for himself, blah, blah, blah. This time he's all set and ready to go. And they're like, there's no way this could happen again. But it was actually, in the second one, the most plausible. He's so busy going for batteries for his Walkman that he isn't paying attention. And then he catches on to a guy that about the same height as his dad. And I'm sorry, John McAllister he's white guy number one. Like, everyone
been there. Like, I've attached when I was a kid, I remember, like, I would accidentally attach to just random adult number 3 in the grocery store. Because, like, they walked by and I wasn't paying attention and I thought it was like my mom or whatever, you know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
So that is a totally plausible thing, especially in something busy like an airport.
Right. So here's some of the this is courtesy of fanside.com. My best guess, and let me give some love to the writer, John Bueller. Bueller. All right, so this is gonna be fun.
John Hughes as a screen, like John Hughes' screen name that he does. He goes onto message boards and tries to, like, patch up plot holes.
Well, not this time around. This is after he died.
Yeah. So, okay.
Well, maybe it was his ghost.
It could also be what's his name? Chris Columbus.
There you go. All right. So my first guess is this. He's the cinematic facsimile of Michael Jordan's agent, David Falk. McAllister Falk got into the shoe money with Nike very early. The Be Like Mike campaign, the Gatorade commercial, the Spike Lee shoes thing, that was all Mr. McAllister's idea. He loved him some college hoops, but he loved money more. This would also explain 4 things. 1, why the family lives in Chicago and loves Michael Jordan. 2, Kate McAllister's career in fashion. 3, how you can support 5 kids living in that house. 4, how you can support your bum brother's family too. This is the cleanest and most logical explanation for why McAllister is rich Uncle Pennybags.
Yeah, that's fair. Right. I like that. That's a good theory.
Second guess is a little more nefarious than being his airness's agent. He's connected to the seedy underbelly of Chicago. His bosses have to hide the money somewhere, so why not in the suburbs in the Fort Knox domicile abode? McAllister is cool under pressure, such as leaving his youngest son home alone in suburbia. He's clearly seen some stuff, so this doesn't faze him.
Did you know? Oh my God, this might be the greatest thing I've ever accidentally found.
Okay. was gonna say, don't leave me hanging. I'm
It
excited.
is it's Macaulay Culkin's website. Bunny Ears. Have you ever been here?
No, but I'll go there right now.
So Bunny Ear is bunnyears.com. Bunny Ears is a world-class comedy brand created in 2017 when former page master Macaulay Culkin woke up from his long slumber, fondly referred to as the Culkin sleep, took a hard look at the internet and realized it was all pretty shitty. The world community was crying out for comfort, so Mac traveled the far reaches of Earth, collecting the funniest, strangest, and horngriest fellow comedy writers to answer that call. The headlines on the homepage are bonkers. It's so funny.
How to talk to your kids about skeletons trying to steal your treasure. Color of the month: coral, peach, salmon. Fuck, get me the swatches.
This is excellent. How have I not? Check out these cleaning tricks your maid should really know how to do already.
Oh my god, man. Macaulay Culkin is a treasure. Oh
How
my
to make
god.
bulletproof Mountain Dew.
Mac answers your dumb questions. My dad cheated on my mom. Now what? Mac knows all. A tour guide of the places where men have dumped me. Oh my god, I am going down this rabbit hole.
This is a bunny hole even. Why won't John
Yeah.
Cena visit me in the hospital?
Oh, and he has a podcast. I am so jealous. Like, as hard as it is for us to get listeners, we are going to get even less listeners once people discover that we have just plugged Macaulay Culkin's
I'm fine
podcast.
with it. Which Disney princess could you beat in a cage match?
Oh, man. I would take Cinderella's ass out. Narcoleptic ass. Well, no, not her. That's Sleeping Beauty. I'd take her ass out, too. I could take both of them out in a cage match. Snow White got 7 guys on her side.
When you see the youthful, effervescent beauty of a Disney princess, you sigh and think, I bet I could kick her ass. If your natural response to the appearance of Cinderella's castle is to take out your earrings, don't worry, you're not alone. We could be transported to a magical realm with just the 11 official Disney princesses, a big old cage, and no rules. If this golden opportunity ever falls into your lap, it's important to know which Disney princess you could beat in a cage match, because you might need to choose who to fight quickly. Luckily, I've crunched the numbers for you.
Sick tricks to do while breastfeeding your baby. Oh my god, they've actually got a drawing of a woman holding a baby by the ankles while it's latched onto her boob and basically give the motion like you're going to start spinning the kid around.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was spoiled on an episode of Raw. Oh, it's too good. Like, I'm going to spend so much time over here. I let Iggy Pop be my dog.
Nice. I'm clicking our best stuff. Macaulay Culkin interviews the swarm of bees from My Girl. Oh my god, I love this man so much. 6 Wolverine actions figures that get his tight buns just right. What your sex dreams about the Hamburglar really mean.
Oh, man.
Yo, honestly, pause this episode right now and go to bunnyears.com.
Yeah, if Data is so fully functional, why won't he eat my ass?
Hogwarts sex, where you'll get it on according to the Zodiac.
I am for this. How to tell your child they were conceived to a Papa Roach album.
Oh, Jesus.
This is too good, dude. Like, okay, so props to Macaulay Culkin, who has grown up to be a very self-aware, like, maybe comedic genius.
You know what, Macaulay Culkin? You're just the man. You're just like, oh my god. Oh, our Texas cities and minerals DDP tried before making it big.
A guide to grieving all the Yoshis you've killed.
Oh my god. So I got to read this real quick just because it connects Dallas. Diamond Dallas Page, real name Page Joseph Falkenberg. That's not his real name anymore. He legally changed his name to Dallas Page. A bona fide Hall of Fame wrestler, terrific manager, and yoga coach. DDP yoga. Don't call it yoga. Page has had a long and storied career, but before his glory days running the Diamond Exchange, Page struggled to find his identity as a wrestler. Let's look back at some of the personas he tried before hitting it big as DDP. Fluorite Amarillo Page. We'll say this much for old Page Falkenberg. He knew a winning formula when he saw it. Mineral name plus city name, Page. and all the building blocks of an all-star moniker. So it just took some time to get it right. The first try was Fluoride Amarillo Page. Who confused?
I don't hate Fluoride Amarillo Page, honestly.
He confused fans with his motley purple and white costume. The initials FAP also led to a lot of masturbation jokes, though it did play well with the Amarillo cattle inseminator demographic. I gotta send him this just to see what he what he thinks.
Please.
Gyps.
Also, this is a banger of a headline. Forget his weird teeth. Is the new Sonic circumcised?
Dude, all right, we could do a whole episode on this website alone. Honestly, I'm gonna send a message. I'm gonna use their contact us and be like, hey, can we get someone from this website to come onto our show?
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog confirms those rings he was collecting were cock rings. Quote, it is what it is.
Oh God. Dude, this website is the great.
It's like the Onion. It is like Onion adjacent, but it's so funny.
Yes.
No, Bret Hitman Hart won't kill your wife for money. So please stop asking. Keanu Reeves just ate a switch and we're losing our minds. It was for Cyberpunk 2077 or something.
Yeah. You know what? They're getting ready to release a cool expansion of Cyberpunk 2077 with Idris Elba as the lead character. So it's like, so you've got the two smoothest ass guys to be in your video game. You want to talk about getting swag. You're getting the two, you've got
if only they've gotten a coherent story.
Yeah. You know what? I was very disappointed about it. I was so excited to get that game. I really
didn't like the ending of it. The rest of it was fine.
Yeah, but it feels so.
By the ending, I mean all of them. I mean, like
all the endings.
I hate that there wasn't an open world on the other side of the ending.
Yes,
after the ending, you had to backtrack a whole chapter to do the open world stuff.
Yeah, and honestly, when that happened is when I stopped playing, and I started to try to revisit it when the Series X update came through. And dude, I'm playing NBA 2K16 right now. Like that is what I'm religiously playing. I just got for Black Friday. I got Dying Light 2, Saints Row, and what was that other game that I really, really wanted? Oh, The Quarry. Mm-hmm. I've played Saints Row, and I play it intermittently, but I've been hooked on NBA 2K16, so that just lets you know how I'm feeling about Cyberpunk right now.
Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, weren't we supposed to talk about a movie? I forgot.
Yeah, I mean, here's the long and short of it. And
Thank you, Macaulay Culkin.
Say what you will. But Home Alone.
So either way, that's what I'm going with the Mr. McAllister as Michael Jordan's agent.
I like that idea.
All right, down.
Kevin McAllister is left at home alone
because his parents are horrible. His family are horrible ass people. They're just terrible.
They're all pretty shitty.
They are terrible. I mean, he's no sunshine himself.
Shitty. Yeah,
he's a shitty ass kid. Like he's the kid that. When you're like, if your girlfriend or significant other is like, I want to have a kid, you watch Home Alone or you see Kevin in a grocery store and you're like, nah, I think I'm going to go get that vasectomy. I'm just going to get this done. Like Kevin he's a brat. Now, granted, his family sucks, but does his family suck because he's a brat or is he a brat because his family sucks? Because his older brother, Buzz, who is the oldest, by the way, takes way too much sadistic ass pleasure in torturing him. Like way too much. There's 8 years difference between me and my younger brother. 10 years between me and my younger sister. And when we were kids, I did not get a hard on to make their lives miserable. Mm-hmm. I did not. Like Buzz, like everyone talks about Kevin is Jigsaw as a child. Buzz might be freaking
Also, that's all much ado about nothing, too. What a stupid theory.
I can see it, though.
How? Because he set some traps?
Dude, them traps are those traps are way too elaborate for a 7-year-old.
Are they, though?
I couldn't set that shit up.
They're not that complex. He froze water on steps. He shot somebody in the face with a BB gun.
But the paint pans, the blowtorch. There's no way I was setting up a blowtorch.
The blowtorch thing, maybe. I'll give you the blowtorch thing. But what I was struck by this time as I watched it was that it was like not really that impressive. In fact, they almost had him. If he hadn't accidentally broken the terrarium and let the spider out, he was toast early.
Yeah, that's true. Well, here's the thing. I think he was getting way
By
too
accident.
he was getting way too cocky because he was just housing them. But I'm sorry, there's no way I would have thought to use tar and then put a nail on the step. I never would have thought of that at that age.
Did we see him put the nail on the step?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he did it. And then the heating thing on the doorknob, I would never have thought of that. Or the glue gun. It was all stuff. You notice though, his traps were all stuff that his parents were always fussing at him not to do because, quit playing with my glue gun, quit leaving your micro machines on the floor. What was the other one? Buzz told him to leave his BB gun alone. And
I mean, I'll say like it's impressive, but he's also the runt of the litter. Like he's been having to defend himself his whole life.
yeah, that's true. That is his uncle.
And
Like,
not only that, but like the two people that are trying to get a hold of him are the dumbest criminals in the history of cinema.
they are about completely and utterly stupid. Like
If a paint can is coming at your face, let's put our hands up maybe. Or duck.
yeah, don't just stand there and take it.
Right.
And did you ever watch those YouTube videos about the trauma nurses and trauma doctors that are talking about the injuries that these guys have suffered?
I remember something about this, yeah.
I wonder, and I said this on Twitter yesterday, I think even though the Wet Bandits did break into the McAllister house, they would have some serious lawsuits. They could sue the McAllisters. I seriously, they could. I mean,
they could try. It depends on self-defense laws in that state.
Well, the problem is with self-defense is that you're only allowed to defend yourself to a certain extent. Otherwise, it becomes...
Well, right, but if they keep coming...
Yeah, but I mean, like, all right,
He didn't use a handgun, you know what I mean? Like, he used non-lethal force.
Icing the steps, that when Harry first took that very first fall.
Yeah.
When he stepped... That could have killed him. Like, that's shattering ribs.
He also wasn't in the house, and you could never prove that Kevin actually did that because the conditions outside were icy.
True, but then Mr. McAllister could probably get hit with, well, you should have had the wherewithal. It's wintertime. Put ice down before you leave.
Yeah, I don't think any of these lawsuits hold up.
You think Mr. McAllister's lawyer is good? Well, since he's MJ's agent, I'm pretty sure he probably has the best.
Yeah, you mean the powerful white man and his lawyers would be able to like bury the people that were trying to break into his house? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I could actually see Mr. McAllister when the What Bandits send their lawyer, some kid. Mr. McAllister just goes, and like 18 different lawyers come out, all dressed the same, looking like Mr. Burns' lawyer from The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Please get off Mr. McAllister's property.
Because it doesn't matter, like it really doesn't matter like what they did, because at the end of the day, like the very basic law that they are trespassing.
True. But if they don't have weapons on their person either, you can't damn near kill them. Like, call the cops, Kevin.
But like he's a child. Like they could inflict serious bodily harm on him.
Well, they also threatened to. He said he was going to bite his fingers off.
Right.
That's
exactly. Now, and at that point, they were on another person's property.
And not his either, because technically he broke into somebody's house too at that point.
That's right.
So, all right. So, luckily, this plot is so thin that, well, not even so much thin, but it's very, 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 very.
I mean, it's a kid's movie, right? Like,
yeah. Basically, Kevin is made to feel like crap.
Kevin McAllister for all the snarky ass bitches that are like coming up. Like not coming up now, but like that came up with me.
Yeah.
Like Kevin McAllister is the reason that we all thought that we like were smarter than adults, because movies like this, pit us against dumb adults.
Right. Meanwhile, not all adults
all the adults in this movie are incompetent.
Yeah. Like, I think the only adult that's probably not the biggest moron is probably John Candy's character, because he's just like, you know what? Hey, we're shitty people. We're shitty to our families because we're musicians. We're always on the road. But honestly, you're having a tough time. Let me give you a ride.
Talk about like a story beat that I completely forgot about.
The John
Like,
Candy bit.
the John Candy bit, I did not even. And so here's the thing. I thought this movie was going to be a tight 90 because I thought we were going to get like the night before when everybody was together, and then the next morning everybody would dip, and by 15 minutes in, this kid would be alone by himself. He'd have like one day of like kind of chill time before the folks started trying to break in. Then he'd set all of his traps, and about halfway through, we would be getting into it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it's way different than that.
Yeah,
If
it's
we take our sweet ass time getting on the plane,
yeah.
we take, and then Kevin is allowed a good bit of time to like just kind of hang out.
Days upon days. And how inept is the police department? If they even said, hey, our son is home alone. Yeah, tell them to count their kids. There's no one answering the door. Dude.
I mean, what is he supposed to do?
I mean, here's the thing. If the parents have said,
Don't answer
left
the door to strangers. Like,
but if the parents reported to the police, hey, listen, we left, we miscounted, our son is home alone. They could have given the cop permission to enter the premises.
sure, they could have done that.
And if there's a missing child of 8 years old, now if he was like 12, that's different. At 12 years old, you should be able to stay home alone. But at 8, that's a little too young to be home for days, because I'm sure Kevin, like we see Kevin learning how to take care of himself. But if this kid tries to cook, he's gonna blow the damn house up.
Whenever he like puts the hands on his face and screams, which is like,
That was so annoying as a kid. I was 11 when this movie came out, and every kid, especially the white kids I knew, would all just be like, ah! And I'm just like,
so what is that about? Because like
the aftershave burns his skin.
But why?
Because aftershave is like 85% alcohol.
But he hasn't shaved.
Because it still hurts. It still hurts.
No, it only stings when you shave your face and you have like open wounds
well,
on
when I was a kid and I first started shaving
on your face right now, it would not sting.
No, it probably would not.
It would feel cool to the touch.
But my skin is also a lot more weathered and has been shaved a ton between now. If you've never shaved before, you're essentially putting acid on your face. That should hurt.
I disagree. I think that it burns after you shave for sure.
It definitely burns after you shave.
Because your face is open. But his face had never been opened before.
Well, he had just showered. His pores are open.
Right. So I think, and I read it this time as like learned behavior.
Okay.
That he watched his dad sting when his dad
it stings him.
And also I considered it as his like ritualistic morning freak out.
Like he's so privileged that he has to have a freak out every morning.
No. He's left alone. Like his whole family disappeared. He thinks that he wished them away.
True.
And he's like alone in the world now. And so like he allows himself this 15-second freak out every morning, and then he gets on with his day.
Okay, I can get down with that.
Like I feel like I've had that before where like just once every now and then you just got to be like, ah, and then you're like, all right, we're good now, right? Like we just got to get it out.
Hey, working my job, definitely I have to give myself about a good minute freak out of rage.
I don't think that it stung his face. I think that
well, to be fair, you didn't use that old school brute back then. I mean, that shit was essentially brute back then was a different animal than brute of today. I guarantee it. And
back in my day,
back when I was a kid,
our aftershave was literal acid.
Shit, it felt like it sometimes. No, because here's the thing, man. I started getting facial hair very young. And I used to watch my dad shave when I would go to my dad's house. So, and this is so embarrassing to admit, I used to think that shaving cream was toothpaste because they're white. So I would put toothpaste on my face and I would shave my face with the little metal hockey sticks from my hockey game. And then after I was done, I would find, I think at one point somebody as a joke, well, not as a joke gift, but as a gift because they told my mom told them she had a son, didn't specify the age. So they got us aftershave. And I put that aftershave on my face, and I remember that shit hurt. And I thought maybe it was just because I put toothpaste on my face, because toothpaste made my eyes water. And when I shaved for the very first time,
Wait, hold on.
yes.
Say thing one more time.
So I had to have been about 7 years
So
old.
just say it exactly like you just said it. Did you just say that you put toothpaste on your face?
Yes, I did, because I thought it was shaving cream.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. I was like,
So after putting after washing the toothpaste off my face, shaving,
right.
I put the aftershave, which was Brute, on my face, and
now
it
you're
hurt.
doing some like chemistry shit. Like, because not only are you putting Brute on your face, but you also shaved with probably something with mint in it, which also stings, right?
I probably should have had the Joker smile imprinted on my face, going, "Love that Joker."
Yeah, you're like, don't you want to know how I got these?
Well, I'm going to the '89 Burton Batman. Remember when everyone got the Joker poison?
Oh, right.
Oh, because with all these combinations of stuff, now we're dying. Yay! So yeah, that should have been me.
Get a load of me.
But either way, so all right, so we're in contention that for you it was that daily freak out that he had to do to deal with the
having
situation.
a daily freak out because he was super chill the rest of the time.
I think he was just happy having the house to himself.
I don't think so. Like he was almost immediately like at first he was like pretty cool about it, but every night he missed them. He like looked for them. You know what I mean? He was like having to be an adult all of a sudden, and I think he just allowed himself just this one. Like I guess my thing is like I don't understand the repeating of it if it's not some sort of ritual.
All right, I can tap dance to that tune.
But
I think he just kept trying to be a grown up like dad.
I mean, I agree with you, and I honestly think it's just like, I mean, the whole movie could have just been called Kevin Screams, because
pretty much
a lot of
says yes,
right. A lot of the jokes were just like punctuated by his like super morphed out of like super exaggerated scream face, you know?
Right.
And all of the marketing material.
Pretty much that's literally all it was. But I think though, at the time though, we wanted our child protagonists to be white males and have a cute face, but be very, very expressive. And that's what we got from Macaulay Culkin. I think the worst thing about child actors is that
I'm supposed to like them.
You're supposed to like them as kids, but then they rarely get the appreciation when they become adults, because some of them aren't good actors. It's just they were cute, right place, right time. Macaulay Culkin has shown he's actually a pretty good actor.
Sure, yeah. I always find myself like pulling for the bad guys in movies like that.
You weren't rooting. So which bad guy? Because this movie is full of bad guys. Which bad guy were you rooting for in this movie?
I mean, the two burglars. I wanted them to get this kid and like ring him up.
Fair enough. I personally, I was kind of, I was rooting for, I felt bad for Mr. McAllister's brother who lived in Paris. Because like, man, I just want my family to hang out. Y'all ain't even we can't even enjoy the holidays because y'all assholes left your
now,
kid.
like, I don't mean that I'm pulling for the bad like the bad people, right?
Well, McAllister's
like the villains, you know what I mean?
Right.
The McAllister's family is full of a bunch of shitty people.
Well, except the youngest brother. Well, the youngest brother, all he did was live in Paris.
You talking about the kid that drank the Pepsi and was like,
No, I'm talking about the adult McAllister.
Oh, right,
brother.
I got you.
The youngest adult McAllister brother that we never see.
Yeah.
That was in Paris. All he did was go to Paris to work, and his family was supposed to have been coming because he missed his family.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, great. Y'all are such shitty parents that now my holidays are ruined because you can't keep track of all your little crotch fruits.
Yeah. That one little kid, though, after he drank that soda, was
I would have punched the shit out of Fuller, man. Fuller's a dick.
So funny, dude. Like,
well, you know who that is.
I don't.
That's Kieran Culkin, Macaulay's little brother.
Oh, is it?
Who is also the villain in Scream 4. He was one of
Yeah,
the villains of
he's
Scream
like,
4.
watch the soda, and he just like looks at the camera,
It
and
just like
his eyes get big. I was like, yo, like that was fun. That was the funniest part of the movie to me.
that kid was get. You know what made me laugh is when Kevin attacks Buzz and they like throw the chair back and his face gets smashed between the chair and the
Yeah,
wall.
that
He's like,
kid was way funnier to me.
I want a story about Fuller McAllister.
But
I
only
want,
if he can play it. Like only if
yes,
that kid at that age can play it because he was very funny to me.
I want a buddy cop film with Kevin and Fuller
Kevin Hart.
as no Kevin McAllister and Fuller McAllister. We'll call it McAllister or McAllister. Basically, they're former cops that have become private investigators. It's kind of like Gumble to Gumble from Family Guy, but with the McAllisters cousins.
I want them to be children though.
Yes, I want them as kids. I want them as adults reflecting on them as kids.
No, I want them as children, and I want them to take over for their dads on Take Your Kid to Work Day. When
Oh,
when their dads are like incapacitated somehow, and now they become the police.
oh, I like that. I like that idea.
So like the chief of police is like, God damn it, I don't want to do it, but you're deputized.
McAllister, get in here! And they just walk in and they're wearing their dad's uniforms because it's.
He's like, I don't want to do this, but here's a Pepsi. And just get them like all jacked up. They have to keep drinking Pepsi throughout the whole movie to like keep their like energy up.
Yep. And then at the end, when they finally solve the big crime and he goes to bed and his mom tucks him in, he pees the bed. It's like, Fuller! I don't want to share a bed with Fuller. He wets the bed. Why are these kids sharing a bed together anyway? Why are they sharing a bed? As big as this house is, y'all don't have enough rollaway beds.
They finally ran out of money.
Oh, yeah. With all those kids, man.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And you know what, though? What really got me, you know who's probably one of the biggest heels of the whole movie? Is the one brother's daughter that was there for school that was in charge of counting all the kids.
Uh-huh.
How does she know that like it's really her fault that Kevin got left behind? It's not even so much on, it's the parents' fault for trusting some snot-nosed yuppie in training college student to count the kids.
Yeah.
But really, it's her fault. Like, dude, if you're there in college, you're 18 years old. Make sure you're counting the right kid, please.
Yeah.
She's a dick. But then, so basically, and poor old man Marley. Number one, his name is probably like Artemis Marley or something, but they call him Old Man Marley and make up all these horrible stories about him murdering people. Words have power. And who the hell?
He is a victim.
He truly is a victim. Like, every time this kid sees him, he runs screaming. This guy's already lonely. So I swear I see this guy going home like, man, I just wish that nice family next door's kids would just say hi to me. He's sitting there with his hungry man dinner in front of a TV, tears going down his old weather-beaten bearded face. And all he's trying to do is just shovel the walkway to stay busy.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Poor guy.
Yeah, this movie is entertaining enough. Like, I don't know, like I don't remember. I wasn't old enough to like really remember what it was like in 1990 to see this for the first time, but like it just today it doesn't feel like it's very special.
It was an interesting time because we hadn't seen a child star this big since, say, now granted, he was well before my time, but I mean, Mickey Rooney was like the biggest child star of all time up until Macaulay Culkin.
Uh-huh.
Well, actually, no, with Mickey Rooney and then like Shirley Temple and then Macaulay Culkin. So it was really big because we had movies with kids in them.
So is it just the fact that
it was the fact that he was what was the fact that he was good enough as an actor to carry this movie largely by himself. And then being the foil of guys like Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, because you figure Joe Pesci was hot off of Goodfellas and the Lethal Weapon movies. So and then Raging Bull. So Joe Pesci had a lot of clout and gravitas behind him. And then you see this little kid that's able to act with him. And Daniel Stern had everything from the Wonder Years behind him. And, you know, John Hughes's name was on this. So John Hughes's name, of course, was massive at this time as well. So the fact that Macaulay Culkin was strong enough of an actor to be in a John Hughes film directed by little known Chris Columbus, opposite of Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, plus with Catherine O'Hara, who was coming about with the Beetlejuice fame. That's what made this movie so big back then.
Yeah.
Was the fact that this kid was basically running a movie with these Hollywood heavyweights. Because I'm sorry, if Macaulay Culkin isn't as good of an actor as he is, this movie is nowhere near. It's not. It doesn't have the
He
fame
is good.
that it has.
He is good. He is good. As a kid, he is good.
But I feel bad that this movie, like, when you hear stories about child actors, because then you got Evan Lloyd about 10 years later, who had to quit acting. You know, and Macaulay Culkin stayed away from acting for a long time until he came back as an adult. Like, it's a difficult road for these kids. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I'll tell you what, man, I give credit to him because he hasn't suffered nearly as much as other child actors have. But he had it difficult, you know, with his parents stealing his money and just people thinking that they had the right to him when they don't.
Yeah.
Plus, the physical comedy of this film is just off the charts. And we weren't seeing kids beat the shit out of adults like this.
That's right. Well, now that's all we see.
Because Dennis the Menace, it was always accidental. Dennis would do stuff being precocious, and Mr. Wilson would suffer the consequences.
Right.
This is a kid purposefully and malicious. Like, this is a kid purposefully fucking up some adults.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the reason why this movie was so big back then. And sadly enough, it became a franchise. Like, this movie should have been done after the first one.
Yeah.
And even with the second one.
How's the Home Sweet Home Alone?
I haven't even bothered. After the second Home Alone movie, I checked out.
Because what, the third one was Jonathan Taylor Thomas, is that right?
No, some kid that looks like him. I think it was like I don't know. I can't even come up with a good make fun of nickname for what that kid's name would be. Earl Sneed Sinclair. Well, let me look this up real quick.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Home Alone movies. The third one, I could see where it looks like it would be Jonathan Taylor Thomas, but it's not.
Alexander David Lenz, I think is his name.
Why do these people have to use their whole names? I don't get it. Like, that's serial killer
their
stuff.
Parents do.
That's serial killer shit, man.
Also, if their parents didn't give them some basic bitch name like Jonathan Thomas, then we wouldn't have to get the Taylor, you know?
True.
Or, I mean, Alex Lenz is a fine name. Then there's Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House.
Oh, sweet home Alabama. Oh, wow. Wow. It's tough being 9. Yeah.
Home Alone, The Holiday Heist.
Well, this time we have a girl. Oh, is that a girl? I don't know.
And then Home Sweet Home Alone.
Where we got Buzz McAllister. Yeah, because we were definitely clamoring for that cameo.
Yeah, give me more Buzz.
Oh, yeah, I definitely need more Buzz McAllister. You want... no, thank you. But I have no desire to watch that movie, like, at all. Until Macaulay Culkin comes back for a Home Alone movie, I'm done after those two.
The villain.
I wouldn't mind that.
That's, like, I need Kevin McAllister to come back as the villain and wreck some kid.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Like, he grew up and joined up with Harry and Marv and realized that actually being a cat burglar was far more lucrative because Michael Jordan retired and there's no other basketball player that's going to get him that much
There
money.
are no other basketballs.
Yeah, there are no more basketballs to be had. And, well, no, he tried to follow in his dad's footsteps and become a sports agent. Unfortunately, he became one of the Ball brothers' agents. So that's not going to get you anywhere. So now him, Harry, and Marv are like a trio. And he's trying to go after Fuller's house because Fuller kept peeing on his bed in high school. So he tries to go to Fuller's house to rob it. And Fuller's kid is wrecking all three of them. And he's like, and then here's like the surprise Scooby-Doo revealed. It's Uncle Kevin.
But like Kevin just wrecks this kid.
Yeah, like
Like
Kevin.
burns him alive in his house.
Yeah, Kevin incapacitates him with a clothesline from hell. He incapacitates him with a clothesline from hell.
Ties him upside down.
Yeah, ties him up upside down with like, you know, those dog collars that have the prongs on them.
You're not violent enough. You're like, tie him up. I'm like, no, put the nails in him. We're hanging this bitch up.
Tie him upside down with barbed wire.
There we go.
And then like soak
like,
him.
If we're gonna go down the Saw route, like let's go down the Saw route. You know what I mean?
Let's make it as horrible as humanly possible. And then
we'll have the big third act reveal where he reveals himself to be this kid's uncle, right? Like Darth Vader style.
Yeah. And then when Fuller's family comes home and they see their kid like hanging upside down, charred to like nothing.
Kevin bathing in his blood.
Yep. And then it's like, and then Kevin's mom just like, Kevin! And then it ends.
Yes.
And the credits have no music.
That's right. And instead of it being called, this is just like our Vince Vaughn series called Vince. This one's just called Kevin.
I love it. Once again, why aren't we making movies in Hollywood for a living? Why are we doing a podcast? Why are we doing?
We're starting to get a little like shoehorned into one corner where we're like, why don't we just make all of the actors play themselves in movies and just name like this is just called Macaulay. And
where Macaulay Culkin is like taking out actual people.
Macaulay Culkin?
Yes. Macaulay, starring Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin.
Okay, gotcha.
Macaulay Culkin is Macaulay Culkin's middle name, so it's Macaulay Culkin. Gotcha.
Okay, now that makes perfect sense. That kind of reminds me of I remember one of our TV station had a kids club.
Mm-hmm.
It was our Fox affiliate had a kids club, and I signed up for it, and they sent me my monthly newsletter as Brian Tan.
Nice. Okay, Brian Tan. Right.
Ugh.
All right.
That would be so great.
Home Alone, the first, was made.
It was on
I'm sorry.
$18 million budget.
Yeah, somehow I stumbled into the video game.
My God, there was a video game for this
Home
shit?
Alone, the video game.
How does this work?
Yes.
How does that work?
I don't know. It's some side-scrolling bullshit.
Okay.
$18 million budget, $476.7 million at the box office. Highest grossing live-action comedy until The Hangover Part 2 came out.
Yeah, because we definitely needed that.
Yeah, and the only reason that The Hangover Part 2 was as successful as it was is that The Hangover Part 1 was legitimately good.
Yeah, The Hangover Part 2 is like an absolute waste of time. That's another one of those. We should go back to our roots of shitty movies and just do shitty sequels.
Right. I like that idea actually. I
miss our original premise. Sometimes.
I do. I just feel like we would have. I mean, we would
have run out by now.
We would have had to. We'd be scraping the bottom of the barrel for sure.
Yeah, we definitely be getting those movies that are like hidden on Amazon Prime, like deep undercover.
Yeah, Home Alone currently sports a 66% on the Tomato Meter with an 80% audience score.
Yep,
which is
yeah. I mean, it's
the real answer is somewhere between those two things because the film itself is without, like you said it. The cast makes this movie. The third act makes this movie. Everything else is pretty paint by numbers.
Pretty much. You want to go over some of our reviews on the Rotten Tomato?
Yeah, we can do that if you want.
All right, I'm looking at the actual critical reviews. All critics. Renee Jordan, writing for El Nuevo Herald in Miami. Simple, mediocre, improbable. Full review in Spanish, so I won't be reading it because I don't speak Spanish. That was from December 1st of 2022. So, yeah. So, Renee is not a fan of Home Alone. Justin Brown last year from Medium Popcorn. Still highly entertaining despite Kevin's family being very problematic. Daniel Stern and Joe Pesci brought some great comedy to their scenes. Original score, 4 out of 5. That's from last December. Juan Carlos Cotto, who writes for the Miami Herald and has top critic status. This is from August 18th, 2021. When it's going somewhere, Home Alone is quite funny, but Hughes and Columbus hung too much on the scene setting slight idea. The film brings too much baggage and the trip seems much too long. So Juan Carlos ain't a fan.
I sort of felt that way this time too. I felt like it was a little longer than it needed to be.
Yeah, this movie could have definitely been a tighter. Like this movie is how long is this movie?
It's an hour 40 something. Like shave it down to 90 minutes. That's all it needs.
Well, that's your answer to every movie. Shave it down to 90 minutes and leave it alone. Which I'm kind of okay with that.
Only movies that feel bloated. Like I could, if we were to go through this movie, we could find places to tighten it.
Yeah, I would cut out the.
My argument is that kids' movies and horror films don't need to be longer than 90 minutes.
Yeah, I'm on board with that. The only movies.
What I mean when horror film, like popcorn horror films, right?
Yeah.
Like a Jordan Peele movie, it can push 2 hours. Like I don't mind a 2.5 hour movie as long as it's like purposeful.
Yeah, I'm even fine with a 3 hour movie so long as the story's purposeful. Like sometimes I feel like Avatar is too long of a film. Way too long of a film. Because it just looks pretty.
Yeah, well, we'll get into it, I guess.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Or like Mrs. Doubtfire is one of those movies that it could get away with being a little longer than 90 minutes.
Well, comedies are tough because so many comedies end up just rehashing the same joke over and over again. And when
that's
you're doing the same joke over and over again, then just like
it gets old.
Something out.
Right. Like the Santa Claus with Tim Allen.
Mm-hmm.
A nice tight 90 minutes. Leave it alone. I don't need to see.
No reason that movie needs to be longer than 90 minutes.
Not at all.
I haven't seen that movie in 20 years, but there's no reason it needs to be longer than 90 minutes.
So we'll do that next year then.
Yeah.
Like dramas definitely can get away with being over 90. Like depending on the story. Like a Nicholas Sparks movie, I would probably be okay with 90 to 100 minutes.
Yeah.
Like A Walk to Remember gets a lot. A Walk to Remember gets a lot done in a short amount of time.
Sure.
This movie I really think was. I'm not going to go through too much critical stuff. You're very right. It's the beginning and the end are what make like you could probably go from the very very beginning up until they discovered that they left Kevin alone. Cut out a good portion of the third act. I mean, of the second act. Just go right to the end.
Where it gets bogged down in the middle.
Yeah, because then you start to get into all right, I like the idea of the mom doing everything she can to get back to her kid. Leave it at that.
Yeah, but she doesn't have to have so many stops.
No, like absolutely not. Because I'm pretty sure that an airline is going to find a way to get her on a plane.
Oh, I completely disagree with that. But
you think so?
Yeah, I mean, like everybody at the airport has a sob story.
Yeah, but honestly, people, I mean,
how are you going to verify that this one's is accurate or true?
That's true. No,
like you can't start making exceptions for people, or everybody's going to come up with a sob story.
All right, I guess I haven't flown enough, so you're right.
I mean, I don't even know that it's a flight thing as much as it's a teacher thing. Like you can't start making exceptions for like the one sob story, or everyone's going to have one.
That's a good point by you. That's a good point. I need to become a teacher. I need to. I'm almost there. I've almost got my master's.
Honestly, I mean, like at that time of the holidays, especially, like she's just trying to get where she's trying to get.
I think on Christmas,
everybody else, like she's not special.
That's true. That's true. Besides, get on a boat, bitch.
Right. Or get in a car.
Yeah, drive home from Paris. You can do it. But no, I seriously think, though, that once she got to Scranton, it's like, bro, you're only like 12 and a half, 14 hours away from home. Rent a car. You shouldn't have to wait for John Candy and his polka bums to drive you. And there's no way in hell you're going to be able to sit in the back of a freaking panel truck. Like, That's illegal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's an improbable tale, though, because I'm sorry. If you call the cops and say, hey, listen, we got to Paris and discovered that we left our son home alone. Number one, CYF is going to want to have a little conversation with you. Mm-hmm. They're gonna come into the house.
Yeah.
Kevin, like, if you want to say that, well, there's no way that Kevin, like, if I'm 8 years old and I discover that I'm home alone after a while, I'm going to get scared and call the cops.
Yeah, I never
like,
under.
appear.
I mean, I don't understand why he didn't call the police sooner.
Neither did I, because number one, you're white, you're rich, the
He
police
did
are your
all of the
friends.
other stuff that he's supposed to do, right? He doesn't answer the door to strangers.
Right.
He all of that stuff was smart. But when he had a whole
Day.
day by himself, that his first thought should have been they left me because he knew they were leaving. Like it's not
Right.
they left without telling him.
No, it's and like how do you go at 8 years old to I made my family disappear? That only works if you're like 5. Like
Yeah.
that you think that the power of your wants
Yeah, and
is
I'm
that
supposed to
strong.
believe that this dumbass kid set all these traps.
This little brat who needed someone to pack his suitcase for him
Yeah.
said all those. And I'm sorry,
Right.
like if I'm Harry and Marv, it's one of those. Look, man, I think that they had a hard on to beat the shit out of the kid after the kid shot him in the dick with the shot him in both
Sure.
heads with the BB gun. At
Yeah.
this point, it wasn't about the stuff; it was about wanting to beat the shit out of him.
Right. And if you're
But
if you're gonna try to beat the shit out of a kid, then you best beat the shit out of the kid, right?
yeah, seriously,
Like you gotta come correct. If you're
Yeah.
like you don't want to swing and miss at a child.
no, because then you gonna because then when you get to prison, you're the guys that got your ass was whooped by a kid.
Yeah.
You don't think that you're somebody's Andy Dufresne with the sisters?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, too. What they should have done is taken a page out of the villains from House Party, Stab Zilly and Pee Wee, and realize, okay, he won't let us into the house. We'll get him to come out of the house. How are we going to do that, Harry? Get the gasoline out of the back of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
We'll smoke his ass out. Wow. Not that I'm advocating for setting a small child on fire.
Well, it depends on what they did.
Yeah.
So here's Bartender Smiley with our rating system, and then we'll be wrapping this thing up.
Yes.
The Plotaholics rating system for the movies is a pretty simple system. Basically, they rate movies based on how many shots it takes to get through them. So if you got a good movie and you get through it all the way sober, then it takes 0 shots to get through the movie. And then if you got a really bad movie, then it could take up to 5 shots to get through the whole thing. I think you can try to figure out the middle part yourself. So, what can I get you?
It's like a 2 for me.
I want to give it a 1 just because, well, and I'm not even going to go with the idea of nostalgia, but when it comes to Christmas movies, why do we revisit these movies every year? It's the nostalgia. It's how they make us feel in that time frame. So I'll give it a 1. For as improbable as it is, as ridiculous as it is, it's fun. It's a fun movie.
It's fun. It's fun. And 2 shots doesn't mean it wasn't fun. It just
means that,
right?
Yeah, it's just the way it works for you.
Yeah. So next week, I guess we're gonna sit through Avatar, and but not the new one.
No, because
Brian has decided that this is how he wants to wrap things up.
Well, I mean, it's a nice way to boost.
He spent the last 3 years talking shit about this movie. This is how he wants to end the year. So,
well, do you want to end it with a different movie? Want to watch Little Monsters with Fred Savage?
Oh God, why would that be your immediate fallback?
Because for whatever reason, I clicked on Devin Ratay, who plays Buzz in this movie, and one of his earliest movies before this was Little Monsters. So I don't know. You pick next week's movie, the year ender. You pick it.
I don't mind. I don't mind doing Avatar. It's fine.
Okay, all right. Well, no, I'm just saying. I just pulled that out of a hat because I couldn't think of anything else to do, and the only reason why is because the new one is out. That's the only reason why I came up with it. We can do whatever. Yeah. I'm cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else that we could do.
You know, sadly enough, we have to wait 6 months for the new Spider-Verse movie. Mm-hmm. Sadly, and I'm just not in the mood to brave the brave lines and brave people. I've done enough of that to go to the movies and watch the new Avatar.
Yeah. So we'll discuss.
We'll talk about Fern Gully in 3D.
Yes. That is what we will do next week. And hope everyone has a nice holiday. And we will chat with you folks next time.
Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, and yes.
Take a trip with us to Nilbog. Just promise not to drink the goo. Oh my God! If you get sucked into the Matrix, we will send a phone for you.
Do you believe in fate?
But every movie has a plot hole, and every hole gets filled somehow. Whiskey, wine, or blue milk. Just don't cut me off right now. We're the Plotaholics, a breakfast club of two. We're the Plotaholics, ripping plots apart for you.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just